Morning. uh, right now, I have water on the stove. I've been doing this whole car living thing for, I'm 34. I've been doing it for like over half of my adult life, so that's over a decade. But I have learned to make it really, not really comfortable, but comfortable. And yeah, so anyway, I just thought, since I'm gonna try something new, that I would start recording more again. And I'll tell you guys a little story before I get into the dialogue that I wanted to talk about. So I know a lot of people think that, like, this whole 111 or 1111 thing is like something that people make up in their heads, but I've only ever had this happen one other time in my entire life, and it was like in my early 20s, I think. But when I moved out here to Colorado, or came out here to Colorado, I moved. I had started seeing these numbers everywhere, on my clock, on my watch, on addresses, on buildings, like, you name it, and they just kept showing up for almost an entire 2 years, in all different forms. And there were other, like, weird sequences of numbers that I would see, and it was just wild. I actually took a picture of, so at one point I had like a range of 11 on my odometer. I think I think, it was like 11 on my odometer, the range for the mileage left to go. And then there was 1111 on the radio here. And then it was crazy. I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not actively looking or searching for these numbers, and they just keep appearing to me. And a lot of people say that there's a sign to that, obviously. And I think that the older I get, the more I realize that, like, reality that I know it to be is, like, you can atomize it down to a point. And I'm not a scientist, I'm not an engineer, but I do like to think in those terms. But anyway, so, like, the older I get, the more I realize that, like, things can be predicted and known and understood down to, like, formulas and numbers and this and that, and obviously chemistry and things of that nature. And these things didn't really appeal to me or anything when I was a kid, or even growing up and going through school. I didn't care about science. I didn't care about math. I could do all those things pretty easily, but the older I get, the more I see science and math really leading the world in everything. And so I think there is an element to that. And I think, in my view, the whole 1111 sequenced numbers that I was seeing for a whole 2 years, and not even trying to see, I just kept seeing it everywhere. It was like a movie. And it was like God was trying to show me something, which I have failed him more times than I can count. And I don't even I just try to have faith, but I don't think he's really too happy with me right now. But I just keep screwing things up. I'm good at doing that. I'm not very consistent at all. So I'm back to doing videos. Anyway, I'm trying to ignore everything and everybody else, and keep all that negative energy and stuff away from me. Keep roaming eyes. Just keep my eyes on my goals, not on other people, because other people are always looking at other people, and that's not something that I like to do. I don't care what other people are doing. And so I just try to keep negative energy out of my space. I try to follow what I believe is God's will for me. We're at 7:16 a.m. here in the morning. I've got water and a cup on the stove, and I'm gonna make some coffee. Just some little instant Folgers stuff. It's kind of lifeblood for me in the morning. I think as it is for a lot of people. But yeah, I thought I'd make this video, and I'm not gonna be saying what I'm gonna be doing, but I'll make some videos on this channel that I'm going to post to, specifically. I've got dialogues for this channel, and so the topic number 1 on this dialogue is walking. What I wrote down is walking. Who else follows the same rules walking as they do driving? Staying to the right of a pathway when you're walking, just like you would if you were driving. Or, for countries where people drive on the left side, I'm pretty sure the majority of the people would walk on the left side of the pathway. How many people just walk all over the path? How often is this intentional? I think that most of the time it's intentional that people don't walk on the right side of the pathway, their right side, and people walk on the left side and just kind of get in the way of other people. And I think that's intentional, and I think it's because people don't care. It's extremely aggravating and annoying. And I see this a lot of places. Not in the biking community. The bikers here, they respect the pathway, and they ride on the right side. Some of them ride way far out into the road and stuff, but most of the time they're still on the right side, and they're following what that standard is for everybody, and it just makes life easy for everyone. But I get this a lot, where people are like all over the aisles in stores, people are all over the sidewalk, and even on the road. It's like, it just seems to me that people don't really know how to use their thinker anymore, and it's crazy and wild to me. I don't really want to. I appreciate this country and everything it's done for me. It's done a lot for me than I have for it. I will say that much. But I'm just kind of tired of dealing with people like that are like way more impulsive than logical. But anyway, I'm gonna move on to the next topic. These are just kind of like topics that I deal with on a daily basis, or that I'm thinking about. When I'm on the road, the amount of people who are trying to slow down, speed up, change lanes, or otherwise inhibit your driving ability, in my opinion, is astronomical. I tie and attach this to narcissistic personality disorder. So what I'm talking about is, like, I just detailed my car too. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it being clean. It's been dirty for a good little bit, but anyway, yeah. So like, just the other day, literally just yesterday, I'm stirring some coffee. Sorry, y'all. But anyway, just yesterday, I was on the road. I was getting ready to turn onto this kind of like highway sort of thing, and I had this car behind me. No, it was beside me, and we were both turning. We were in the turn lane, getting ready to get on this road so that we could go to the highway. When we turned, it was like me, and there was this guy. Other way around. It was this guy, and it was me. Turning, this guy pulls ahead, gets over here, gets in front of me really quick. We have about half a mile to 3/4 of a mile down the road to get to where I'm going. We get about half a mile down the road, and he's still like this, slowing down. I didn't look at him. I didn't do anything. And I think he was offended because I didn't like look over, or whenever I'm driving, I drive like I don't see anybody, but I respect the rules of the road still. I don't care what anybody else is doing. I'm always defensive and offensive driving most of the time. And I don't know why people are so triggered by this. Or me, or anybody on the road. It's just like everybody's so like hostile all the time. It's so weird to me. But I don't really care what anybody else is doing, except when it affects me. But anyway, he was like this, slowing down, kind of speeding up, doing this. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, at the end of this little partition of the road, I was supposed to turn right. When we come out and we're driving alongside and next to each other, he speeds up a little bit, gets in front of me. We're getting ready to get to the point to where we're supposed to turn again. And he gets back over here so that he can turn left. And I'm turning right. If we pulled out on the turn prior to this turn that's coming up, why would he pull out? Why would he get in front of me and then get over and then over again? He knew where he was going. But he did this on purpose. He did this out of spite for some reason. I didn't look at this guy at all. I was just monitoring his behavior driving. And it told me that he does this to anybody on the road that he wants to. It's a very, very, very selfish way of driving and living. And I see more of this than the opposite. Maybe not more, but it's pretty close. And again, it's tied and attached, in my opinion, to narcissistic personality disorder, where you have to try and control everything on the road or in your life. And when you can't, you just take it out on other people. I don't get it. Never have. I've always been a free-spirited, like, I kind of want to just, like, live my life and do adventures. And, of course, I want to contribute. And I have something else on that I've started doing. But it just, like, people have, like, lost their mind here. It's crazy. And I understand why. Because we're led by a whole bunch of people that are giving our money out to everybody else. I don't want to get too off topic here. But they've cut off SNAP, Social Security is running out, millions and millions and millions of dollars is being sent out to all these other countries, while there's a whole bunch of people here in the States that are scraping the bottom of the barrel. And it just happens again and again and again. And the forever wars. I know they make us better people in the long run, but I, for one, don't want to be in a war, go out there and risk losing my nuts, my my legs, my butt cheeks, and getting them blown off and this and that. Because, as I've said before, maybe not on here, but I used to have bad anger problems. Like, I probably would have went to prison if I didn't get help. And now that I've overcome those, I have made it my duty not to get to a point where I'm impulsively raging at other people all the time. And it seems like it's changed for the collective. And I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm good. I see everything for what it is. I think humans as a collective should be trying to focus on up and out. Like, we have too many people here on Earth. And there's just so many angry people because everybody just wants control and nobody has enough resources and money and this and that. So I deal with that driving on the road a lot. I think there's a lot of narcissistic people out here, and I think it's best just to avoid as best as you can those people, and understand that they're going through problems that maybe they're not talking about or don't want to talk about or even understand how to talk about, which is, I get that a lot. Next on my topic is godlessness. I think I've spoken about this in another video, but everywhere I go, I see people inspecting other people, focusing on others, watching other people, harassing other people, the use of judgment first over understanding. or trying to understand. So like the impulse is to judge first, understand only when you're in, like asked or what's that word? When you're asked about like why somebody's laughing or pointing or talking to you in a derogatory way or whatever. It's like people, the impulse, judgment impulse first is like everybody's prerogative. And I think, in my opinion, that's a devil's game. Like, instead of trying to understand something, like your first instance is to bring up an emotional reaction that steps on somebody else's neck instead of trying to understand so maybe you can help somebody else. I'm not with that. I think it's a waste of time. I think not trying to understand things first makes you a worse person. Even if you're in a group doing it, this is what leads to wars, is this mentality or this way of thinking, judgment first. And then when you bring other people into that, it's like a little Mean Girls movie. It's really immature. It's really a lack of effort to try and understand something, or to judge first before understanding something. And it's just not the way I am. It's not who I am. And I attach and attribute this to people being godless. They don't believe anything bigger than themselves, so they feel like stepping on other people is the only way to move in life, which is crazy. Which I've never really. I've always been. I've been to a lot of churches. My quote unquote family and people that I've grown up with have always like been religious and this and that, and I understand a lot of the different religions and this and stuff, but I personally really started moving by faith and looking at God at like 30 years old, and I'm 34 or 30. Yeah, I'm 34, but I like really started seeing signs that there was something more to this than just what I was thinking or feeling, which I attribute to like spirit. And I see a lot of godlessness in people these days, but I also think that people, our creator, whoever brought us here, besides those that spread their legs and take it, which is not difficult to do. You're not a creator, you're a producer, but yeah, there's so much godlessness in the world, and even people that go to church, most of the people that go to church are this way. They are not as assisting as they should be. They are not supportive as they should be. They are not community oriented and minded as they should be, and it's just everywhere. It's kind of sad. Another thing on this topic here, I didn't realize I wrote so many down, so I'll try to get through these, but my coffee is done. We're still waking up here. I'll be doing a little Amazon flex today, seeing if I can earn 75. Today I'm supposed to be cleaning off my transmission case. Anyway, that's a little off topic, but yeah, so carbon. You hear a lot of talk about like carbon. I was cleaning my injectors out a couple of months ago, and discovered like a carbon buildup in my injectors, and it was like black sticky stuff. It was pretty crazy. It was just from like gasoline being pushed through the injectors and then sitting or getting hot and then burning on the injectors themselves. I thought that was kind of cool. My injectors were all black on the insides, on the outsides. It was kind of wild to learn for the first time what that looked like and how the systems of a car lead to this buildup. Humans also give off a carbon footprint, they say, which I haven't really looked into that much, but I thought it was pretty wild. Everything that we do is sort of a reaction. When we eat, it's going into our stomachs, it's processed, and then it's transferred through our peripheral nervous system, our blood system, and all these other things to our brain and body. And when we drink, same thing. When our cars are running, same thing. And like I said on my other topic just a little bit ago, like the older I get, the more I think in these terms, in the terms of like reactions, but not actually being reactionary, just how reactions occur in the world and in your body, and uh, it's like a math and science thing. It's pretty cool, actually. That's all. That's all on the carbon topic. I just think it's cool, and I think people should start thinking about those things. Another thing that I deal with a lot on a daily basis is like trying to get a business to let you use the restroom is like trying to pull somebody's teeth. Here's another actual example that I did yesterday. I went into an establishment at like 5 a.m. I was getting gas, and I asked the clerk, "Hey, is your restroom working? I really need to use it. I would appreciate it." And he was like, he said no, and I was just like, "Huh, that's weird. I used it literally last week." And he's like, "Oh, really?" I was like, "Yeah, I did." And he was like, let me see. And I was like, just you saying "let me see" tells me that you don't know, and that you just lied to me that the bathroom was unavailable. This is also another common thinking pattern for people. Lie first, question later. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, he opens the restroom. The restroom looks great. It's very clean. Everything worked great and wonderful. And I understand there are a select few people that ruin this for everybody else. People have to start locking the bathrooms because drug addicts, homeless people washing and cleaning in the bathrooms, breaking the toilets, the plumbing, all this other stuff. But anyway, yeah, like this is every restaurant or business or establishment that I go into is always locked. And it's like kindergarten all over again. "Hey, can I use the restroom?" It's like the fact that I even have to ask to use the restroom is so wild to me. It's so wild. And I'm very grateful because where I'm at, there's a lot of like porta potties and stuff around. I'd much rather just not have to ask and use one of those any day over an established business. Just a changing of times. Also speech and language. I be or it be, that or that, or it's like ebonics. I understand why people speak like this because it's easier, and maybe they want to be creative and create their own kind of like sort of language or whatever, chat, however they want to speak. But it really is improper. There really is a right and a wrong way to speak, just as there is a right and a wrong way to live. And if you don't live the correct way or you don't speak the correct way, your life becomes more difficult. That's just the way it is. There's a lot of nuance there, but that's inherently true. Like if you go, for example, now I see farming and gardening way more beneficial than foraging. I went out foraging like a month ago after like researching for a good 1.5 to 2 years. I foraged like a whole bunch of stuff that I thought was supposed to be edible, kind of cooked it all up. I got sick as hell. It was crazy. I was like throwing up all night. The next day I was super sick. Started dissipating the very next day, like 2 days. And then that's when I realized that like foraging or just like living correctly is super vital and important, because if you don't live that way starting out, you have to learn the hard way. There's no other way. And so I have transitioned from thinking that foraging is okay to understanding that gardening and farming and stuff is the right way to do it. Foraging is not a sustainable way of living unless you know 100% what it is that you're eating and that like your body's not going to react negatively to it. That was a little off topic, but this is going to be the last one. We're already at like 24 minutes, but I would really like to drink this coffee a little bit. I don't want it to get cold anyway. Sorry, I don't mean to be doing that. It's kind of annoying. it is like a, yeah, anyway, I'm not going there, but, the next topic that I have is you don't have to make eye contact with people if you don't want to. You don't have to be nice to other people if you don't want to. I would recommend it. It's a good thing to do, but you're allowed to have your own feelings. You're allowed to have your own thoughts about anything, including other people. And so are other people. So it does go both ways, unfortunately. So this lie that everybody propagates that men shouldn't be emotional is all completely garbage. It's a complete narrative. It's a complete narrative and lie. It's pushed only for a certain narrative control among certain people. If you didn't ask to be here, nobody seems to have. You reserve the right to live the life that fits your emotional and logical faculties. Period. Point blank. End of story. And I have learned that, like, not allowing myself to feel certain things or think certain things or following somebody else's narrative I'm not dead, so that's good. But I have suffered a lot at the expense of thinking and feeling how other people said I should think and feel. Way more than I ever did by myself. Now, I do make mistakes and I don't do everything correctly. And I understand that, like, I'm getting better. I want to stop talking about me when I make these points. But anybody, like, again, if you didn't ask to be here, and again, from my knowledge and my understanding, nobody asked to be here. We were just born because two people decided to, like, scissor together. I think that's it is what it is, but I think it's messed up that, like, you get born and then you're, like, forced or thrown into or harassed or, like, poked and prodded into doing certain things. Other people things that other people want you to do that aren't necessarily, like, inherently good for you, right? Or that you don't feel like it's good for you or right for you. That's a better word. If you don't feel like it's right for you, not good for you. Good and bad is pretty subjective, but, like, right and wrong, you know what's right and you know what's wrong for you or for not other people. I don't want to speak on other people's behalf, which it seems like everybody does, but you know what's right and wrong for you. Stove hot, touch stove, boom, burn the crap out of your finger. That's wrong. You're not supposed to be doing that. That is not right. And so you don't have to behave, think, feel, or act any way that is out of your emotional and logical faculties that feel right for you. Period. End of story. And anybody that would derail you, railroad you, throw you off the wagon for doing what you think is right for you is not a friend. That's not somebody that you would probably want to be around. I understand accepting that behavior from other people on the basis of getting ahead or making money or whatever else, but it's up to you to decide how much of that you want to tolerate and deal with. And yeah, and that concludes most the topics on this video. And I don't want to give too much away. I just want to kind of take things day by day and see how they go. And I hope you guys appreciated the topics and you guys can resonate a little bit with that. And I'm not going to be doing all this, like, click, like, and subscribe stuff or follow for more or, tomorrow's going to be this or that, because it's very variable to me and I'm trying to be more consistent. And I don't want to give people false hope or false promise. But that's the end of this video. And I really hope you guys resonated with some of these topics. And and I know a lot of my content on this channel is inflammatory, and I apologize for that. I don't mean it to be. I just talk from my experience, and whether that offends people or not is not really, that's not for me to carry. I just talk about my experience, and if people like it, that's great. If people don't, that's on them too. But this really helps give me like a true, like a north compass, like a north to my inner compass and what I should be doing. It helps with that. And also people commenting. Like I won't take criticism though, because I know what I'm supposed to be doing. And other people can have their views that may be true for them. But if you impose that on my channel, like I'm gonna delete your comments, and I'm gonna hide those comments from my channel. So if you can resonate and you can understand, you're feel free to like comment and chat. But if not, I don't care if your views are different. This is my experience. But I do appreciate people listening, and if you get something out of it, let me know. That way we can build upon that instead of the differences. I don't like to focus on the differences. Just trying to find. Yeah. Anyway, we're kind of like going overboard here, but I've got my coffee. I'm gonna finish my coffee up. It's 7:42 in the morning. Car's really clean. I want to make some money today, and that's what we're gonna try to do. Amazon Flex, here I come. Let's get it. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Yeah. Peace out.